Okay, this is part 3 of Ye Are Gods and soul projection and how your souls project out. Usually in units of 12, but not always. This is the basic rule of thumb. So we're going to go about this because it's going to keep things simple. I hope you can see that okay. Fingers crossed you can see that okay. Apologies about the scrappy drawing, but this is just an illustration to show you what actually happens. Okay, so this is very basically what happens. The Godhead projects out into 12 IUCs, individualized units of consciousness, which would then become the 11th density universal God selves, or universe creating logos. Then they would project out. They would then project out each one of the 12 projections from the Godhead of the 11th density would then project out into 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, all the way along, each one into 12 projections, which would total to 144 10th density individual or individualized God selves. So these are the 10th density beings. And then the 144 10th density beings, each one projects out into 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, all the way along to create the master oversouls, or the monads, in the 9th density. Okay? So when the 144 is times by 12, you get a total of 1,728 individualized units of consciousness. This is how many master oversouls or monads you would get using this system. Okay, let's go to the next sheet. So then, of course, so you've already projected out from the 1,728 master oversouls into the 20,736 oversouls. That's almost 21,000 oversouls in the 8th density. And they are the solar system logos, or the logos creators of solar systems. In other words, the sun star is ours. That's the Earth's local creative logos. Our entire planetary system was created by the sun. So, of course, each one of those projections would then divide into 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. So 20,736 times by 12 is 248,832 individualized units of consciousness, which would then be the 7th density planetary logos. In other words, the planetary logos that created the Earth, Venus, Saturn, all of our planets. Each one has a planetary logos of the 7th density using the 12 density system. It would probably be the 5th density using the 9 density system, or the 8 density system. So each one of the 7th density planetary logos, each one of the 248,832 would then project out into 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, totaling to 2,985,984 individualized units of consciousness. These will be the 6th density higher selves, radiant light bodies in unity consciousness. Each one of those 12 would then project out into another 12, 12, 12, 12, and so on, which would total to 35,831,808 individualized units of consciousness of the 5th density crystalline light beings, which are within now the crust of the Earth. Okay, so we're now densifying from the Godhead all the way into manifest creation, all the way into the actual crust of the Earth, in the crystalline light grid. There are crystalline light palaces down there. It's absolutely beautiful. Of course, each one of those would divide into 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. So 35,831,808 times 12 is 429,981,698 individualized units of consciousness. These would be the astral social memory complexes. So the astral social memory complexes then project out 12, 12, 12, 12, and so on and so forth, which will total to 5,159,780,352 individualized units of consciousness. In other words, 5.1 billion individualized units of consciousness in the third density. Of course, there are many master oversouls, there are many monads, and so many other aspects of other monads and other galaxies project into our galaxy. And many of our monads from this local galaxy project out into other galaxies. You see, the whole idea is to be diverse, to explore, to expand. We're expanding source consciousness. We're expanding our own minds and our own palette of experience here in the physical manifestation. And we're also expanding the mind as a whole, the divine mind. Okay? So another way of looking at this would be the 9 density system, which is probably the most popular one, in which case the monad, we'll begin at the monad, basically. But it's the same system. It's the same system. Above the monad would be the one infinite creator in its most undistorted, unified aspect. That would then divide out into the monads. The monads would divide into the oversouls, which would then divide into the primary soul aspects and the 7th density. Each one of those would project out 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. And this keeps happening down and down and down. And what is happening is densification, devolution. We are descending down into physical, gross matter. And the third density is about as physical and dense and about as removed from the source as you can possibly get. And that's why it feels like you are not part of God. To many of you. This is why we have the unworthiness complex, or the I'm not good enough complex. Because we feel so far removed from our original source that we feel like we've done something wrong. We feel like we're being punished by being here. But it's not like that. You see, what's happening now, we've reached the very, very bottom. We've reached the very end of the devolution cycle, the descension cycle, and now we're beginning the ascension cycle. So we're beginning to evolve. We're beginning to ascend. We're beginning to raise in consciousness, raise in vibration. And we're working our way now back up, and we're bringing everything that we've learned in this physical realm with us all the way back up to the Godhead, lifetime by lifetime, incarnation by incarnation. So this is basically how things branch off. I hope that you can see that, because I know that the Wi-Fi is terribly bad here, very slow. So I'm having to use the lowest quality rendering just to make it possible to upload a video in one day. So I hope that you can see that. But I hope that at the very least you can see the branches coming off, and each individualized aspect of the 12 that branches off then projects into another 12. Then each one of those projects into another 12. So that you get these kind of mathematics adding up. Of course, people say, well, why is there 5 billion when there's 10 billion souls here? More like, well, that's because there's more than one oversoul. And this is going to be another video. There's going to have to be another video. But there is also the concept of NPCs, or non-player characters, which I've been shown, I channeled it, I've been shown it's very, very real, that there are a certain number of humans on this planet who are simply mind-body complexes. they don't have as much spirit element within them. Everybody's got spirit in them, of course. You have to even be here. You have to be a part of the source. But we differentiate. There's different levels of consciousness. There's different levels of conscious awareness. And there's different varying levels of vibration. So in another video, in a different series, we're going to go into non-player characters and explore what they are and how to tell if somebody is even, how would you even know if you were a non-player character? Basically, everything, and I mean everything, is a part of God. If you want to call it God, I call it the source. Ye are gods. That's part 3. Namaste.